Imagine a world where everything you need is just a short walk away. Your grocery store, your doctor, your gym, your child's school, all within a pleasant, tree-lined 15-minute stroll. It sounds idyllic, doesn't it? A return to the village lifestyle, a rejection of the soul-crushing commute, a greener, cleaner future for us all. This is the sales pitch for the 15-minute city. It is the darling concept of modern urban planners, championed by the World Economic Forum and rolled out in glossy brochures from Paris to Oxford to Cleveland. They call it the ultimate convenience, but if you scratch the surface of this utopian marketing, you don't find freedom, you find a perimeter. The 15-minute city is not just about zoning laws or bike lanes. It is a fundamental restructuring of how human beings are allowed to move. The hook is convenience, but the reality is containment. To understand the true nature of this project, we have to look past the digital renderings of happy pedestrians and examine the mechanism of enforcement. Because you cannot have a zone without a border, and you cannot have a border without a guard. In the 21st century, that guard is not a person in a uniform. It is an algorithm in a cloud. Critics have started calling these zones open-air prisons, and the media has been quick to label them conspiracy theorists. But let's look at the facts on the ground. In Oxford, England, the City Council didn't just suggest people walk more. They implemented traffic filters, physical and digital barriers designed to stop private cars from crossing between different neighborhoods. If you want to drive from Zone A to Zone B, you can't just go directly. You have to drive out onto a ring road, circling the city to re-enter, turning a 5-minute drive into a 30-minute detour. Why? To nudge you, to make the car so inconvenient that you simply give up. But here is where the cage metaphor stops being a metaphor. These zones are monitored by an intricate web of automatic number plate recognition, ANPR cameras. If you cross the line without the proper permit, or if you exceed your allotted number of trips per year, you are automatically fined. The system knows where you are, where you were, and where you are going. This is the geofencing of physical reality. The 15-minute city effectively becomes a digital confinement zone where your movement is permitted only as long as it aligns with the state's current administrative goals. This is the psychological trick. They aren't banning travel outright, yet. They are just making it conditionally expensive and bureaucratically exhausting. They are engineering a new social contract where mobility is no longer a right, but a privilege dispensed by a database. When you hear everything you need is within 15 minutes, you should also hear the silent corollary, so you have no reason to ever leave. This shift in urban planning coincides with a broader demonization of private car ownership. The private automobile is the ultimate symbol of autonomy. It is a private room on wheels that can take you anywhere, at any time, without a schedule and without permission. That autonomy is a threat to a system that demands total predictability. By redesigning cities into semi-autonomous islands, the planners are creating the physical infrastructure for a static society. A society where you stay in your lane, stay in your zone, and stay dependent on the services provided within your designated perimeter. The convenience is the bait. The trap is the infrastructure of control that surrounds it. We are watching the construction of a soft grid detention center, where the walls are invisible, but the consequences of crossing them are very real. The city is no longer a sprawling network of opportunity. It is becoming a managed inventory of human resources, sorted by zip code and tracked by the second. If the 15-minute city is the cage, then smart city infrastructure is the lock. We are constantly told that smart cities are about efficiency, lights that turn off when no one is there, trash cans that signal when they are full, traffic lights that adjust to flow. It sounds like harmless municipal housekeeping, but that is a cover story for the most invasive surveillance apparatus in human history. Let's break down what is actually being built on your street corners right now: the mass deployment of smart poles. These aren't just street lights, they are modular sensor platforms with high-definition cameras, microphones, and license plate readers inside those sleek LED casings. They are often equipped with ShotSpotter audio surveillance that listens to the street 24/7, but more importantly, they are the nodes of a mesh network. This is where the Internet of Things, IoT, stops being a buzzword and starts being a weapon. A smart city is essentially a massive open-air data vacuum. It sucks up the MAC addresses from your smartphone, the RFID tags in your clothes, and the biometric data from your face. In China, this technology is already mature. We see gantries, overhead structures on roads, bristling with cameras that flash hundreds of times a minute. They capture the driver's face and the passenger's face in every single car. This isn't science fiction. It is standard infrastructure being installed in London, New York, and Sydney under the guise of congestion charging and low-emission zones. The core technology here is AI traffic management. This system doesn't just see a car, it sees you. It links your physical location to your digital identity. When you pass through an intersection in a smart city, the system logs the time, your speed, and your likely destination. It builds a pattern of life analysis for every resident, and if you deviate from your pattern, say you drive to a different zone at 3 a.m., the algorithm flags it. This is the foundation of pre-crime policing and automated enforcement. We are moving away from a system where a police officer has to witness you breaking a law to a system where the infrastructure itself acts as the cop, judge, and jury. Did you drive into a low-emission zone with an older car? The camera saw you, the AI processed it, and the fine was deducted from your bank account before you even parked. There is no due process in a smart city, only algorithmic execution. Furthermore, we need to talk about the biometric layer. Facial recognition is now being integrated into public transport kiosks, sporting arenas, and even retail stores. The goal is a seamless, frictionless environment where your face is your passport. But if your face is your passport, what happens when the state decides to revoke it? In a smart city, access can be denied instantly. Imagine trying to board a subway train, but the turnstile won't open because your social credit or carbon credit score is too low. The infrastructure is already there to make this happen. Then there is the role of 5G. It is not just about faster movie downloads, it is about latency and density. It allows for 1 million devices per square kilometer to be connected simultaneously. This density is required for the sensor mesh to work without gaps. It enables real-time tracking with zero delay, allowing autonomous drones to patrol neighborhoods and stream 4K video back to a central command center. It allows the city to watch itself in real time. This digital dragnet destroys the concept of anonymity. In the old city, you could be a face in the crowd, but in the smart city, there are only identified data points moving through a grid. The infrastructure being built today is designed to eliminate the private sphere entirely. When the streetlights are watching you, when the traffic cameras are logging you, and when your own car is reporting on you, you are never truly alone. You are an inmate in a panopticon, behaving yourself not because you are moral, but because you know you are being watched. The term lockdown entered our global vocabulary in 2020. We were told it was a temporary measure for a medical emergency. But power, once seized, is rarely relinquished. The infrastructure built for the pandemic, the QR codes, the travel restrictions, the essential worker permits, was a beta test. The next crisis will not be viral, it will be atmospheric. Enter the climate lockdown. The theory is simple. Governments will use the pretext of a climate emergency to enforce restrictions on movement similar to those we saw during the pandemic. But unlike a virus, the climate crisis has no end date. It is a permanent state of emergency, which justifies permanent powers. We are already seeing the soft launch of this language, hearing about carbon budgets and personal travel allowances. But how do you enforce a carbon budget? You can't do it with paper forms. You need hardware. This brings us to the most terrifying piece of the puzzle, the kill switch. Buried deep within the massive U.S. Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act is Section 242220. It mandates that by 2026, all new vehicles must be equipped with technology to passively monitor the performance of a driver and prevent or limit motor vehicle operation if impairment is detected. They sold this as a way to stop drunk driving, but let's look at the wording: prevent or limit motor vehicle operation. This is a remote kill switch. It is a backdoor into your vehicle's operating system. Once this technology is standardized, your car ceases to be your property. It becomes a service that the manufacturer or the government can turn off. Conspiracy theorists have been warning about this for years, and now it is federal law. Imagine a future where a climate emergency is declared because of a heat wave or a grid strain. Your phone buzzes with an alert. Travel restricted to Zone B. You get in your car to check on your elderly mother in Zone D. You push the start button, the dashboard lights up, but the engine doesn't turn over. A message on the screen reads, "Travel restricted, authorization denied." Your car hasn't broken down, it has been bricked by a remote command. This is the ultimate realization of the open-air prison, where you don't need barbed wire fences when you can simply disable the escape vehicles. This technology transforms the car from a tool of liberation into a tool of compliance. If your carbon footprint is too high, you haven't paid your municipal fines, or you are a dissident planning to attend a protest, the car won't start. We are already seeing the psychological preparation for this. In California, smart thermostats were remotely adjusted by utilities without permission. That was the test, and the car is the next logical step. The climate lockdown narrative reframes freedom of movement as a selfish, destructive act, giving the state the moral authority and physical capability to enforce restrictions. This isn't about saving the planet. If it were, we would be talking about corporate pollution, industrial waste, and supply chains. Instead, the focus is maniacally drilled down to individual behavior. You are driving too much. You are eating the wrong food. You are the problem. And the climate lockdown is the mechanism to manage you in a permanent emergency defined by those holding the kill switch. Why? Why would the powers that be want to create a static, non-traveling population? It seems counterintuitive. Doesn't the economy run on movement, on trade, on tourism? That was the old economy. The New World Order economy, often referred to as stakeholder capitalism or the Great Reset, operates on a completely different set of incentives. It is based on the economics of immobility. The World Economic Forum gave us the infamous slogan, "You will own nothing and you will be happy." This is not just a catchy phrase, it is a business plan. It describes the transition from an ownership economy to a rental economy. In an ownership economy, you buy a car, you buy a house, you buy a DVD, you possess the asset. You are independent. If you own your home and your car, you can survive a lot of economic pressure. You are harder to coerce. In a rental economy or a subscription economy, you own nothing. You subscribe to a housing service, a mobility service, a media service. You are a user, not an owner, and users are much easier to control than owners. If you stop paying or if you break the rules, your access is cut off. You don't lose an asset, you lose your life support. A static population is essential for this model. When people move around, they are unpredictable. They are hard to track. They spend money in cash in random places. But a person confined to a 15-minute city is a perfect data cow. They are predictable. Their consumption is regular. They rely on the approved delivery drones and the approved gig economy services. Think about the labor market. In the past, if the economy in your town crashed, you moved. You loaded up the truck and went where the jobs were. That is labor mobility. It is a key factor in economic freedom. But in the modern rentier economy, the elites don't want you moving. They want you stuck. Why? Because a trapped population has no bargaining power. If you cannot leave your zone, you have to accept whatever wages, whatever rent, and whatever conditions are offered in that zone. High housing costs and the destruction of the entry-level housing market are part of this. By making home ownership impossible for the working class, they create a permanent class of renters. Renters are less mobile than you think. They are trapped by leases, security deposits, and credit checks. They are anchored by their debt. This static population model also benefits the digital giants. If you aren't going out into the physical world, you are living in the digital one. The metaverse isn't a game, it's a holding pen. If you are sitting in your pod, not driving, not traveling, you are consuming bandwidth. You are watching Netflix, you are scrolling TikTok, you are shopping on Amazon. The stay-at-home economy transfers wealth from small physical businesses, restaurants, local shops, to massive digital conglomerates. Every time you stay home and order in, a local business dies and a tech giant gets richer. The 15-minute city accelerates this. It kills the regional economy and replaces it with a hyper-localized, corporate-dominated delivery economy. You don't drive to the butcher. You order a nutrient paste from the fulfillment center in your zone. This is the endgame of the New World Order economic model, a Neo-Feudalism where the serfs are tethered to their land not by chains, but by convenience and digital geofencing. The elite will continue to travel. They will fly their private jets to Davos to discuss carbon taxes. They will own multiple homes. But for the rest of us, the future is a subscription-based life in a geofenced cage. They want you static because static things are easy to count, easy to tax, and easy to control. The 15-minute city is not a neighborhood. It is an inventory management system for human beings. And we are the stock. The future isn't coming anymore. It's being installed. You can either be a user of the new system or a product of it. The choice is yours. Hit that subscribe button to keep your eyes open, and I'll catch you on the other side.